Welcome to the Blox Podcast. On today's episode 18, we've just heard JobKeeper 2.0 has been released, and we'll get Dale to run through that, as well as the COVID loan scheme. ScoMo has made some changes to that with banks, and I think it's going to be easier for businesses to get access to funding. So as always, I'm joined by Dale Kitchen. How's things going, Dale?
Back again. Things are well. Things are, as always, we are government funded until the year 2022 at this point in time. It was crazy. I didn't think that this had come out. We've had an announcement that they've changed the JobKeeper rules, which is always good. The government borrowing, I don't know if I'm a fan of that or not, but it is what it is. And I think that's all we've been given at the moment. So yeah, the eligibility, I think, is the issue on the next one. It's clearly not going to be the bigger take up as we had in the original scheme, and I think it's going to be a lot more targeted. We'll get into that, but yeah. I'm still in two mind about it. I mean, how's $1,200 per employee going to help a business that hasn't been open for 9 months? I don't get the connection there, but it is something. The government, I suppose, is just trying to help. Would they be better off not giving them anything and just saying that and giving them a startup investment if they did run a business for a certain period of time? Maybe that'd be a better thing, but time will tell. But anyway, more money, more problems.
Yeah, so JobKeeper 2.0 won't. Everything continues the same as is till September, end of September, and then we start to move to phase 2. And do you think this phase 2, is this now businesses being Centrelink, or are we starting to move away? It's hard to understand why we're continuing with paying money, because the original JobKeeper was mainly to keep unemployment lower, and businesses provide JobKeeper to avoid Centrelink's being overwhelmed and their website crashing daily across the whole period.
It was a big scheme just to hide a lot of facts and figures. That they then continued it, which I don't understand. I don't know who this is really helping. I mean, the levels they're talking, you could just put everyone on the dole and pay them that kind of money. And if they came on at a certain point in time, so to continue to pay businesses that are, let's say let's work down the industries. Let's say I'm a travel industry. $1,200 a fortnight is not going to help me at all. There's no way back for me from that. Anything tourist related, if I'm a nightclub, if I'm a gym, if I'm a restaurant to certain extents, I was speaking to a client this week, a bedding retailer at the Homemaker Centre in High Point. They had one customer all week. So my rent there, I mean, you're probably looking maybe 10 grand a week for the rent. This money is not helping me. And I've got to continue to pay it out to the individuals that have employed for me. So if I've got work and I've got places to put them, then I see a value in it. But if I've got nobody to sell to, I'm just Centrelink at the moment. I'm just paying people to stand around and do nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I don't know how you can keep paying to try and save the economy. Maybe it is just to keep money flowing around the economy to compensate for the losses that we've had. But somebody's got to pay this back eventually. So, this money has to come from somewhere. I think the uptake on this is going to be a lot less because of the ruling around about how it works and how you become eligible. So, which we'll probably get into in a second. It was just surprising. And when they said March, I think March, So March 2021 is when the final payment will end. I was dumbfounded. Why do we need to carry for that long? And if we've got a lagging economy that's lagging everywhere else except for these few people getting JobKeeper, how is that going to get anyone across the line? I don't get it. It's crazy.
Yeah, the extra. Well, what does the extra 6 months say about what their expectations are around? Are we expecting more lockdowns in areas? Maybe, hopefully, it's
Yep.
more targeted, but with sort of time. If they're saying 6 more months of this, and what happens in March? There's no
9 more
reason that.
months.
Sorry.
So there's 9 more months, an additional 6 plus
Yeah,
the
3 now.
the two. Yeah, so you're talking 9 months of guaranteed government subsidy for some businesses. Now, how do they know? How do they know what's coming in 9 months? So it does suggest that they think that there is going to be a rolling lockdown that is going to continue for a long time. The rules are looking a bit harsh in that if you have one good quarter, you're going to be kicked out. So let's say that you don't meet the requirement, which is a 30% drop in sales comparative to the figures of last year. For one of any of the quarters, it seems that you're then out of the new JobKeeper regime, and that's it. You don't get back in. So, one good month at the end of June might be enough to say that you don't get JobKeeper until the end of March next year, but your business might be in disarray. So it's interesting on the setup. But yeah, let's get into that.
Well, that would have to be reviewed with Victoria locking down again. That was start of July. If you've just had a good June, you've actually bounced back, and then they're shutting you down. So you're going to be affected for most of September quarter. You're going
Not
to have
even bounced back.
So you could be out of JobKeeper, no fault of your own. You've been restricted again. It'll be interesting to see when they finalise these rules if there's anything that we can work around.
So what we did receive in this instance was a very detailed account of how the things are going to work, which wasn't available in the early hours of JobKeeper. So they seem to have given a very good indication that like if I had a June quarter where I was 24% down on the previous year, and then in the September quarter I was 90% down, I can't continue to get that JobKeeper because of the fact that I didn't meet that requirement in that 1 month, in that one quarter, sorry. So, yeah, fair or not fair, I don't know. But them is the rules. What else have we got? So what they're saying is that from the end of September until January, to the 1st of January, everyone's going to receive a reduced rate of JobKeeper. So for anyone who works more than 20 hours per week, they will receive $1,200. And anyone who works under 20 hours per week, they'll receive $750. Paid the same way, paid to the employer, which will then get cycled through to the employee. You will then have a reduced rate again after that. So from January 2021 until March 2021, end of March 2021, you will be receiving $1,000 and $500. So if you work more than 20 hours per fortnight, you'll receive $1,000. If you work less, you receive $500. It's baffling. It's baffling how they can understand how the economy is going to be tracking that far out, and that they think, that type of funding is going to help anyone. So if you could survive the first few months of JobKeeper based on work that I've been having for the past 6 months, and now it's starting to dry up, based on these rules, you're not going to be in the system come June, come March, end of September.
Yeah, what do you expect probably of our clients that are currently receiving JobKeeper would lose, 60 or 70% rolling into version 2.0?
Yeah.
Come September time, they probably won't be eligible.
And that's the weird thing, is that some people have been able to, work out short-term things that enabled them to keep their income up and running, where it may have destroyed their chances of keeping a JobKeeper funding for the long term. I don't know. It's interesting. What else? So there's sort of the basics behind it. There are some different eligibility rules if you weren't trading for a full year. The same details as to the employees that are eligible. there will also be the monthly declaration, report through Standard Touch Payroll, all those sort of things. Yeah, very interesting at all.
And the other area was the loans. So ScoMo said they're going to guarantee more loans for small business. Do you think this was because no one took them up, or banks weren't?
Yeah.
Were banks restricting people who could get access to them, or were they trying to charge too high rates?
So what we had was we had a bunch of people who tried to get it. I think we had a sort of 50% success rate. A lot of the what were the reasonings behind it? So a couple of the reasonings were that the business wasn't meeting the requirements to receive the JobKeeper loan. So there was a couple of requirements, and they fell out of it because of that way. But yeah, it didn't seem to help a lot of people. I'm not sort of reading a lot into that. I don't think it's going to change what people are doing quite a lot. I don't think you should be borrowing if we're looking at an epidemic that's going to be carrying on for another potential 9 months to sort of a year. I think you'd be crazy. If you're investing in now, you've probably got an online business or a construction company. They're the only industries that seem to be going very well. Every other industry seems to be slowing up. Retail severely hit in the second lockdown. I would say that online retail is still going really, really well. Construction is still going full steam ahead. That they seem to haven't seen a drop. So there sort of seems you got your big losers, and you got your big winners. You've got a bunch of in betweens as well, which I'd say, the panel beating companies. Actually, one thing I did hear that the farmers were going quite well based on the drop in petrol prices, so they were able to sow for a very cheap race. So, there are winners and there are losers. I don't think the government got it right on this one. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to help the people who have been suffering a lot for a long time. So which is probably where it should go. But the people who had that little bit of an uptick and then dropped off, they're sort of in trouble at the moment.
And what would you be telling business owners now? That I would be suggesting to look back at the last 3 months of how you've performed, to use that to base on the next 6 months planning around the expectation. We couldn't imagine demand is going to increase a lot over the next 6 months. So you need to start figuring out if you need to tweak anything in your business model or the way you're selling things, way you're getting to customers, because it is now going to be 6 months, 9, 12 months.
I would be working on a gradual decline with whoever I am. Depending on how big the uptake at the end of this JobKeeper is when we'll start to see a lot of the businesses who will close up and a lot of the jobs that start to get laid off. So what's there to be gained? So if I'm a company and I'm flatlining at the moment and I'm just taking on rental debt, and then this let's say there's a lot of shops that haven't even opened the doors. If I'm taking on rental debt and my employees are continuing to get paid, why am I continuing? So is the JobKeeper going to be enough to keep those continuing past that September deadline up until the end of March? Maybe, I don't know. That'd be interesting to see. The only thing that I think will change things is when they remove the requirement, which I think we've got to look for. So at the moment, there's no requirement for a business who is losing money to stop trading because they no longer can be able to pay their debts. Now, that law comes back in at the end of September. That should have an effect on businesses trading and actual insolvent businesses, or businesses who are just collecting the JobKeeper should wind up at the end of September, and then maybe we're just left with the people who can survive. Maybe that's it. I don't know. We've come full circle.
So are
So
you expecting
maybe
them to police that, or are you expecting people to put their hand up at the end of
uh
September?
well, it's never been an area that's been really policed that well at the moment. So when you have smaller type wind-ups, I've never seen them go after the directors to be personally liable for the debts at the point that they became due. Um, I would think that will continue to happen. I think this will be in more the larger cases, so the bigger companies where the directors are very far removed from day-to-day activities. They are the ones that are going to pull the pin because they're just reading the reports and they've got not a lot to gain by continuing the position. But with your smaller mum and pup type arrangements, it doesn't really make a big difference.
Okay. Anything else you want to sort of add? We've been snowed under the last 2 weeks. It's been good to get on the podcast. It's a bit of a break from punching out all the tax returns and all the compliance work at the moment.
So I think the government has realised the day we release the podcast, and they've started timing their press releases with us. So that's always a good sign. That means we're getting cut through in the industry. But it's busy. Everyone's getting in early. We're doing remote returns at the moment, which is good. We've set up a system that works very well, and it's sort of getting people through the system. So it's keeping our head above water, but yeah, it's still a grind at this time of year. And the fact that we didn't get the rest we usually get in June. So usually we get a nice little week or two off in June, and then we move on and then build up our stamina for this. So, this will probably last a couple more months. If it continues at this rate, I think we'll be in real trouble at the end because I'll be exhausted.
It's a lot of work, but we know it's a period that if we can get over this hump, everything smooths out. And we must say we're very thankful for several of the customers that have given us Google reviews. Through the Google My Business, we're chugging along, heading up to 50, and that's a simple target. We'll aim for 50, then 100, and that'll shine through across other accounting firms.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Being in business for over 10 years and not having one bad review, I thought that's probably more of an achievement than all the good reviews. I think to have not one person who has felt any angst. Well, I mean, we've had disagreements with people, but not enough to sort of say, I want to trash these guys online. I think that's quite a good achievement. Hopefully we continue that for the next 10 years.
So you're suggesting customers to come forward if they do have an issue and...
Talk to me personally first. Don't worry about the social media. But no, I think it's surprising me. It surprises me. It really does, as to what customers are actually looking for in an accountant at times. And I think that the two-way communication that we've been getting has helped us sort of give the clients what they're after and sort of focus more on what they see as an accountant's role and what they see as an effective way to deal with an accountant. I think that's been probably a little bit eye-opening, and what I've thought people are looking for probably the past sort of 10 years doesn't seem to be 100% what they're looking for. It's close to the mark, but we can always change things up and get better at what we do.
Yes, and we'll continue to provide that really good service in a timely manner. I think that's probably the key.
That's what everyone says that we do. The service we provide seems to seems to be the thing we're known for, which is fantastic. And
we'll apologise to anyone that we haven't got back to in a timely manner, but we do really appreciate. We've had several reviews recently, not reviews, referrals. That's been excellent to get people that have recommended us. They've been able to. Because you don't go to too many friends' places and suggest your accountant or talk about accountants to other friends and family. So it's always great to get a referral.
Yeah, it is. So if anyone we don't get back to you, email info@taxforyou.com.au. That seems to be the central point we work at. So we refer all our calls, all our texts, all our emails, all our the 1,000 other ways that people contact us. We refer them all into that one place. We pile them up. We push them out.
Yeah, definitely. And next week we'll probably roll into JobKeeper 3.0, or have you got anything you're heading towards next week?
I'm hoping so. The money is not enough. I want Cash Boost 2.0.
Yeah.
So I think Cash Boost was the good one. Let's get another one of those.
Yeah, ScoMo said that we shouldn't get used to accepting government money, but it seems like it's never ending, so it's a bit hard not to get used to it.
No one's asking for it, but they keep giving it to us, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll speak to you next week, Dale.
Thanks, mate.